Hey guys, how you doing? Happy New Year to all those around the world. Welcome back. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everybody. Hopefully you guys have had a good year. I mean, let's be honest. It's been a rough year for a lot of people. COVID's been a thing. We had Christmas, we had Thanksgiving, we had birthdays. There's been a lot of people sick. A lot of people weren't able to do things like we wanted to last year because of that. They couldn't go a lot of places. And then where people that are super busy, that you don't have time to say hi to your best friend, hang out with your best friend, say, I love you, mom. You know what I mean? Make sure you guys take time out of your day to reach out to people who you cherish very much. Just say hi. Ask them how their day is. You know what I mean? This year, we're in 2022 right now. This is supposed to be a better year for everybody. So hopefully, those who have set goals for themselves, big and or small, we're able to achieve them this time around. Thank you guys for the success that we have right now in the community for my channel on the YouTube. I appreciate you guys for sticking with me since day one. Right now I'm hoping to grow as much as I can, but I need my community here to support me, to keep doing what I'm doing. Hopefully we can keep on making an impact and impression on Pokemon Unite, having a good time, having fun. But today is our second video. We're doing a brand new tier list since Dragonite has been released. We're going to get into it. Hopefully you guys have fun. Let me know your opinions, your thoughts, everything down in the comment section and or the Discord. It's going to be opinionated. My thoughts only on solo queue. Keep that in mind. So take it with a grain of salt if you choose. Let's dive into this. We are taking Gengar first. And that is a Venusaur. Venusaur is going to actually go first apparently. So we're doing Venusaur today. Venusaur is going to be an S tier Pokemon still, sadly enough. You hate to see it, I hate to see it. For those out there who are Venusaur mains, you love to see it. I think Venusaur right now is still very strong, even though he's got nerfed with Petal Dance. I was sitting here doing 130k damages on Venusaur. Running a tank build, by the way, because that's, y'all know me, that's how I do. Running a tank build with Venusaur. Still pushing out over 100k damage, no problem. This Pokemon I think is still very, very strong. And for those of you who haven't picked him up yet or haven't really played much around with him, he'll carry you up to Masters, no problem, trust me. Even though Petal Dance got nerfed, you still run Petal Dance, you'll be fine. Anyway, Gengar. Gengar is S tier for me. He's S tier for a lot of other Pokemon out there in terms of performance, because there are a lot of very good Gengar mains out there, but we are very far in between, okay? Now, Gengar has his weaknesses. We all know what that is. He's super paper, right? Essentially, you just put a fire next to us and you're going to burn us every single time. Gengar gets crowd controlled all the time. His Unite move gets stopped all of the time. Sometimes it bugs out and you're running around on the map and you're thinking you're in your animation when you're actually not. And people are just focusing you down and you don't know why. There's a lot of bugs with the Pokemon and I don't know why they haven't been addressed yet. Other than that, it's like people have PTSD from the old Gengar days when he would just Hex, Sludge Bomb, 1v5 teams. We all remember it. We know how much damage he did. Then he got nerfed and or balanced as you will. And now it's like if you Sludge Bomb somebody, everyone's already ready for it. They're ready at the dash, they're ready at the eject button. And then when you go for the Hex, what happens? They moved out of the way. Now your ability is on cooldown and then they just kill you. He's very, very skill dependent to play, in my opinion. Because if you're not playing Hex Sludge Bomb, you're playing Shadow Ball Dream Eater, you have to land those abilities. It's not a lock-on. You have to land those abilities to deal damage to be successful. I want to say he's S rank, just overall, but this is me as a biased Gengar player. I'm putting him here. You can argue that if you will. Either way, we're moving on. We're taking Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime is going S rank for obvious reasons. This Pokemon is absolutely busted in the hands of the right player. He does take a lot of skill to play as well. You gotta line up your shots with confusion, you gotta hit people in the walls with confusion. You gotta understand his abilities and what Guard Swap actually does to be successful with it. But I think he's really, really good. I think he's one of the best supports in the game right now. In terms of damage, crowd control, he's very, very strong. Best healer in the game, hands down, Eldegoss. No introduction, we don't need it. We already know what she does. You can say Blissey's up there, she'd be an A rank for me. Probably an A rank for a lot of people. Because 9 out of 10, you see a Blissey on your team, what happens? Let's say you're playing Cinderace. Why is Blissey behind you inside the team fight? Why is that happening? Why is Blissey behind Decidueye in team fights, for example? Why is that happening? Because a lot of people think when they're playing a support Pokemon, a support healer, they need to be like in the back of the back of the back. Blissey, you need to be up front in the melee range. You need to be absorbing damage, soaking up damage for your team while healing, if you can. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of Blissey players have that mentality where they want to be the support Pokemon, but they also want to be a support of the support of the support. You know what I'm saying? Instead of being up in the melee range, taking damage for your team, soaking up damage, being a front line. I think that's the differences between Eldegoss, because Eldegoss is up in that front line, right? Let's be honest. Giving shields, giving as much heals as she can, giving speed boosts. But hey, each their own. That's like I said, this is just my thoughts, my opinions in solo queue environment, boys. That's it. And ladies. Now, Snorlax, no introduction. Best tank in the game, hands down. Considering he's got reworked, still the best tank in the game. And I put out a video recently of Snorlax where I think this Pokemon can check a lot of other Pokemon in the game right now. And what I mean is Zeraora, Serena, Dragonite, Machamp, forget about it. As long as Snorlax is on your team, feel safe, feel secure. Because this Pokemon is here to protect you. That's what his job is to do. All he has to do is literally follow his carries around, put block up, let them do free damage. Because you can't retaliate because Snorlax is blocking you. You know what I mean? You're not doing damage. Dragonite jumps into your team with Dragon Dance or Draco Meteor, and he's getting ready to outrage your whole party. What's happening? You block. Then what happens? Dragonite does 0 damage because he's blocking everything. And then his ability goes on cooldown because he's not necessarily dealing damage and landing abilities. What happens? Snorlax wins in that sense, right? But hey, we'll see. We're still playing around with it. I still think he is where he is right now, and he will be until we get a brand new tank in the game who's actually really, really strong or can, take that spot from him. But right now, definitely S tier. Crustle, D tier. Ever since they changed how X-Scissor works, where supposedly he can't crit anymore, let alone it wasn't really doing much for him anyway. He wasn't really outperforming any other Pokemon anyway, let's be honest. He's been D tier for a lot of people outside of Crustle mains or Crustle fans. Sorry guys, but this Pokemon is just not bringing a lot to the team in form of tank when you can play Snorlax or Mamoswine or Blastoise, you know what I mean? Hopefully they do something for him, but we'll see. Only time will tell. Garchomp. The disappointment such as Garchomp right now. C tier. Not D anymore though. He moved up one. But C tier. The rework is not doing much for him right now. And I know it upsets me, it upsets you, it upsets a lot of players. Garchomp's just not in a very good spot, and I don't know why, and I don't know what they're going to do to fix this. They may just ignore him now, because they tried, you know what I mean? But we'll see. I don't think he's necessarily S tier, necessarily A tier. I think he's better than what he was before, most definitely. But I think there's a lot of good Garchomp players out there who will disagree with this, and that's perfectly fine, because in your hands, just like for me, for Gengar for example, Garchomp is your Gengar, you know what I mean? Absol? Tough spot. C tier for me. Not a D tier, not a B or A, or sorry my bad. Not an A or an S. I think he's a B tier. I think he's like in the middle. No, Alexa, go home. But yeah, he's a B tier for me. He does very, very good in the early game in the right hands of a player who knows how to play Absol. And it's very far in between because we don't see Absol played a lot. We don't see Gengar played a lot. And not understand when there's an Absol in the enemy team, you're generally scared. Not for yourself, because you know that bot lane or that top lane is going to overextend, get killed by Absol, and next thing you know, you as that jungler, you're level 6, Absol's level 8. What do? You know what I mean? That happens very, very often, let's be honest. But in the later stages of the game, let's say you're doing very well in that game and he's doing very well, you're both on equal footing, for example. In the later stages of the game, it can shift in your favor because he doesn't bring that much to the team in form of crowd control. He's just damage, right? And his damage is also positional. And you ain't good at positioning with Absol, you don't really do what? Damage, right? But hey, it all differs depending on the person. Now, we're going to move on here. Pikachu got buffed. A tier. Needed it. Very, very strong Pokemon right now. He has a lot of things going on for him. He's got slows, he's got crowd controls, he has CC, stuns, everything. And then he has Electro Ball. I'm going to teach you something you don't know. Electro Ball does a lot of damage, right? It does even more damage when you're low HP. It also executes you at a certain threshold when you're low HP. Bet you didn't know that. It doesn't specify it, but what I mean by that is, just like Greninja's Surf, it does a lot more damage when you're low HP. So Pikachu hits you with that Electro Ball, you wonder what happened, and it didn't do that much damage a second ago. Why did I just die? It's because it amplifies the damage more when you're lower health. Keep that in mind. Bet you didn't know that. Greninja, S tier. Regardless if they nerf Water Shuriken, this Pokemon is still super strong, guys. Super strong. Charizard for me, B tier. Now, definitely better than Garchomp. Definitely better than Crustle, hands down. I think Charizard is slept on by a lot of players out there. And for you Charizard mains out there, Charizard may be your Gengar. You know what I mean? Charizard can delete any Pokemon on the enemy team with his Unite move, no problem. If you want to get rid of that Cinderace, if you're trying to get rid of Gardevoir, Talonflame, whoever, Charizard can deal with it. Hands down. Serena, S tier. Do we gotta talk about it? Do we have to? I don't think we really need to talk about it, do we? Alright. Decidueye, C tier. Regardless if he got buffed, he's still not doing much in the game right now. I'm sorry, there's a lot of fans out here for this Pokemon. We were all super hyped for him. I was. Everybody was super hyped for this Pokemon. Then he gets into the game, and he's very lackluster. Very lackluster. Let alone, keep in mind, when you're sitting here playing in solo queue, everybody and their grandma wants to play DPS. Nobody wants to play tank. Nobody wants to play healer. You might get one or two every other game or so, but everyone else is playing DPS. And then you get Decidueye. And then what happens? Somebody in your team calls jungle. Then you're stuck in lane. And then when you're stuck in lane, they bully you out of lane. Then you're even further behind than you were if you were to take jungle. You know what I mean? He's in a really weird spot, but at the same time not bringing anything to the team other than just damage. If you can land Spirit Shackle, or if you're not afraid to walk up in melee range, considering you have no tanks on your team, all DPS Pokemon, no one's absorbing damage for you, and just start Razor Leafing and hoping no one focuses you down. There's a lot of stuff going on with this Pokemon that people didn't think about when he first was released. But hey, each their own, boys and ladies. Or bring up Sylveon. Sylveon A tier. She would be S tier, but she got the Sylveon treatment per se. She got nerfed very, very hard. And now I think she requires a lot more skill than she did beforehand, where you can just hyper voice somebody down to nothing. Lucario, sadly enough, still up here. No introduction needed. We don't need to talk about it. He's just still there. Dragonite. Not Dragonite, sorry. Cinderace. S tier as well. Pokemon is absolutely nuts in the right hands. Regardless if you have front lines on your team, it doesn't matter as long as you have positioning with this Pokemon. You can argue the same thing with the Decidueye, right? Doesn't do as much damage as Cinderace. Also, doesn't have his gap closers, doesn't have disengages. Cinderace has it all. He can kite you out with red buff. If this Pokemon has red buff, just like on Greninja, and they're ahead, good game, essentially. That's it, just good game. He can still Zapdos, Articuno, Dreadnought, he can still Rotom with his Unite move. Pokemon is phenomenal still right now. Gardevoir will be an A tier right now, just because she has been nerfed recently. Psyshock did take a hit, for good reason, it needed it. But she comes online a lot earlier now than beforehand. She did get her reworks. She is a lot more viable than before. Now you can actually bully the enemy team, but you're still bullied in the early game, you know what I mean? But you can still bully back very quickly, which is a lot more fun, because a lot of people just play Gardevoir beforehand, got bullied out of the lane, then they start taking your jungle, then you fall behind. It was a big thing. But thankfully she's been fixed. She's very, very viable now. So for those of you out there who haven't seen her new rework or haven't played her since her new rework, give her a shot. She might change her mind. Slowbro. A tier. Yes, A tier. I don't care. A tier. Or S tier in the right hands. Pokemon's phenomenal now. He got a buff recently, let alone this Pokemon can take out anybody. Anybody in the game. Just like Charizard can. Just like Serena can with her Unite move. Slowbro just says no, you're not allowed to have fun, and stops you in your tracks. You activate your Unite move. As Machamp, what happens? He stops you. You activate your Unite move. As any Pokemon, he just shuts you down. It's so much fun playing this Pokemon, but at the same time, He's a very strong tank that a lot of people underrate. Just keep that in mind. And I think he can definitely carry you up the Masters for those of you who are Defender players. Snorlax, Slowbro, Greedent, Mamoswine, super strong, underrated Pokemon, some of them, you know what I mean? Blastoise, for me, personally, is going to be an A tier. No longer an S tier because they did nerf his damage a lot, which he actually needed it, but he still does a decent amount of work when it comes to being a tank. He is super bulky, right? And then you have Mamoswine, which I think can be an A tier Pokemon now, considering the rework. This Pokemon is obnoxious to deal with, like super obnoxious, just because he has so much crowd control going for him now. Ninetales can be a B tier for me. The same with Cramorant. Yes, without a doubt, definitely better than Decidueye, definitely better than Garchomp. Regardless if they land their abilities or not, they will land those abilities in that game or in a game. They do a lot for their team, and they do a lot of damage. Ninetales has the highest special attack. Excuse my dog, because she's ridiculous sometimes. The highest special attack in the game right now, and she definitely shows it when you can land your abilities. Cramorant, fantastic Unite move, can do it in the bush when you don't even know until you walk into the area. Has a lot of crowd control, very fun Pokemon to play. Talonflame, A tier, doesn't need an introduction, we all know that. Zeraora has been nerfed, finally. Definitely an A tier Pokemon now, no longer an S tier. He finally got nerfed. His Unite move does pretty much no damage. Discharge finally got nerfed because it was doing more damage than his Unite move originally. But now we just have to deal with Wild Charge. And as a Gengar main, Wild Charge is not fair to play against because you can't deal damage to him, you can't stun him, you can't crowd control him. Why? Because he just dashes around invisible and does free damage for zero reason because they think that's fair without counterplay. It's interesting. But he's an A tier Pokemon for right now. We'll see what happens to him. Wigglytuff, definitely an A tier Pokemon. Doesn't need introductions. Lullaby's pretty ridiculous. But I'm very, very tired of seeing Wigglytuffs roll out on my team. I'm sure you are too. But hey, each their own. Then we have Machamp, who I want to be in B tier because I think he's better than Garchomp and Decidueye. Hands down, regardless if that person knows how to play him or not. It only takes one submission. One submission versus the right Pokemon. You can just turn a team fight. One Unite move. You can wipe a whole team. Dynamic Punch. You can wipe a whole team. This Pokemon is phenomenal. But he does take Wear All because a lot of people you can't just run in as Machamp, grab, I don't know, Zeraora, or grab, I don't know, Serena and drop him to your team. What? Don't do that ever. But hey, some people just do it and they don't think about it. You know what I mean? It takes skill to play. Now, Greedent, on the other hand, I still personally think Greedent can be an S tier Pokemon, but you know, he did get nerfed. You know what I'm saying? He did get nerfed. So he is balanced. He's more so balanced now than he was before. And I want to put him at A tier just because this reason here. Regardless if he's been nerfed, right? He didn't do a lot of damage. He didn't do too much damage before. His Belch did do a lot of damage. But now, when you're playing in solo queue, regardless if you're smart enough not to chase this Pokemon forever, someone in your team ain't. And they're going to chase this Pokemon. Not once, not twice, maybe 5 times in one game, trying to kill Greedent. And what happens? Greedent's getting value out of this every single time he gets someone to chase him. Every time, because you're not going to stop him, you're not going to kill him. He's going to covet. He has berries to heal himself. He's going to cheeks. He's going to get himself out of every situation he possibly can just to get you to chase him while healing himself. He's doing his best while laughing at you, by the way, as you chase him across the map. Pokemon's phenomenal other than that. Like, he's really, really good at what he does. Goal Getter is very strong on him. Score Shield's very strong on him. The Pokemon is absolutely very, very good still. Dragonite, definitely an S-rank Pokemon. And I know you guys saw that coming. Phenomenal Pokemon right now. He has a map-wide global Unite move, essentially. Can steal objectives, can be at an objective in a heartbeat. Hyper Beam has execute-like damage, depending on how many stacks of Dragonants you have up. Outrage can stun so many Pokemon in one situation. You never have to stun yourself with Outrage as long as you're landing auto attacks. If you're hitting somebody, you lower your cooldown, you can constantly keep Outrage going. He's just so much fun right now. He's bulky with Marvel skill, with multi-skill ability. Weakness policy is super good on him. I think the Pokemon's absolutely really, really good right now. But hey, this is my new tier list for 2022. Hopefully you guys leave your thoughts and your opinions in a comment section in the Discord. Text me, DM me, what have you. Let's talk about it. Let's get together. Let's have a good year. Thank you guys so much for staying tuned to the channel, for being a part of the community. Thank you so much, guys. Let's have a good year. Catch you guys in the very next video.